Hello and welcome to part 2 of the manga head tutorial in Blender. So in the first part we created the basic mesh of the head, making sure that we have the correct edge loops, okay, around the eye, on the face, correct edge loops on the back of the skull. We also extruded the nose to make it very pointy. But the shape, the proportions and the shape are still not very good. So in this second part, we'll correct that, we'll fix that, and we will make sure that the proportions and the shape of the head are good for a female. A teenage girl character. Okay, so first I will disable the grid floor. So I go into the display options, grid floor, disable, because it's distracting. And now we'll only have to mostly just move the vertices until we reach the correct proportions that we want. So first there are a few, we can maybe draw a few lines to help us with the proportions. So there are a few basic, oh, there is a hole here, so let me fix it. Okay, there are a few basic lines we can draw to help us. So the first one is from the side, usually the head, from the bottom of the jaw to the where the skull meets the neck at the back of the skull. You can draw a line like this, maybe even a bit more steep, like that. Okay, because we have where the nose, the back of the head, the back of the skull meets the neck, the joint is at about the same height as the nose, like that. So we may have to fix it. Also to notice, with the manga characters you have usually this kind of slope here for the jaw. Okay, the head, the eyes, the center of the eyes should be at the center of the head. Okay, I mean on the z-axis, so it should be the same height above and below the eyes. Also the shape, the overall shape of the head should be roughly square, so it should be something like that, and like that. So the proportions are not too bad on this head. All right, so this is for the side, and from the front view, very important in manga characters is the shape of the jaw. Okay, and usually you have, it's very pointy at the bottom here, like that. The slope is like this. Then it goes a bit up like that, and finally it should be like that. And above, slightly above the eyes, then it's starting to go back inwards again. Maybe not as steep, but something like that. Okay, so we'll make sure that we have this kind of shape. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And also the neck, the width of the neck compared to the width of the skull should be roughly half. Okay, so our neck here is a bit too thin. So let's fix that. Okay, so I will try to keep the the lines if they are not too distracting, otherwise I'll just delete them. Okay, so first the back of the skull, let's move it. Let's move it up like that. Okay. Here we are. Okay, from the front, let's make the neck a bit wider. Another very important aspect of manga heads is their roundness. Manga heads are very round, very roundish. This is what gives them their childish look, that childish and very cute look. So you should make everything round as much as you can. And this holds true for any given point of view. Any given perspective should always look round. Okay. So this is the bottom of the, well, the lines are becoming a bit distracting, so let me delete them. Yeah, the bottom of the head should be very the bottom of the jaw should be pointy, very pointy, like that. Okay. So when you're tuning the shape of your manga head, it's a lot of small things, really. You know, it's a lot of little. The vertices should be moved just a bit here and a bit there, and it doesn't look like much, but in the end, this is what makes a cool-looking head versus a so-so head or an alien head. Okay. Right, starting to look just a bit better. Double G to move along the edge loops. Okay, so from the front you can see that it's not looking very good. The top of the head is too flat. So we'll try to fix that now with proportional editing on, like that. And also manga heads tend to be wide at the top. Remember those lines we were drawing before? Like that. Okay, so now we have this line coming here and then this line like this. It's not very visible, and then we have this line. Let's make this line more. Like that. Sometimes you can also, when you want some more roundness, you can use the smooth tool. Select your faces and then W smooth to smooth an area. Like here, for example, it's a bit too pointy, so smooth. Okay. Should move this part a bit like that. Okay. So that's something you have to be very careful of is the silhouette of the head. So from this point of view, for example, you can see here the silhouette of the head. It should always look good from any angle. So you should respect the proportions proportions that remember the lines I drew before should always be visible from every angle. So make the nose a bit smaller. Let's bring this. Also, you can notice if you watch a lot of anime and manga characters that their nose, the top of the nose is almost flat sometimes, you know, like this. So, but just now I noticed that I'm missing an edge loop. So I'm going to add one with smoothing. So with Alt, press hold the Alt key, mouse wheel, and then you have a new smooth edge loop. So now I can move those downwards. So double G to move along the edge loops, and then we can improve the nose like that. Maybe make it a bit more down like that. Okay, starting to look good. Here also you're noticing that we have very big faces here, and you should avoid that at all time, because then it looks weird like this. You can see it's very flat. There is a very strange area here, too flat. So I'm going to add a new smooth edge loop like that, so we can play a bit with the shapes and form. Okay, and this one here, I'm going to move along the edge loops like that. Okay. Oh, you can see here there is the vertex is not exactly on the mirror plane. So right now my head has a better proportions, but the jaw is too small for my taste. So what I'll do is take this part, enable proportional editing, and move it downwards. Okay, neck is a bit too long. Right, so it's starting to look good. One way to, here as well, the vertex is not exactly on the mirror plane. Here I can bring those back a bit. And make my nose a bit more flat, but this time it's too pointy. Okay, so tuning, usually to tune a head you have to decide what kind of character, at least the gender and the age of the character, to be able to shape it the way you want, because it's pretty hard to shape a head without knowing what kind of character you're trying to portray. Okay, so I'm making the head round. I mean the edge loops, they should be round from the front view. Okay, like that. From the side you can see here it's pretty ugly. Here. Okay, that's better. Okay. See lots of the just the slight movements that make the difference in the end. And we can add a new loop here. Scale the eyes along the x-axis and make those go inward. Right. It's starting to look not too bad. You know, it depends also on your taste. This is where really I really like to watch a lot of different anime characters from various artists, because each artist has his or her own style, and this is what makes everything interesting in art. It's the variety of style. It's very interesting to see how different people approach different use different techniques and draw or model characters differently. You can learn a lot by watching others. Okay, so you can see I made sure that my head is round from any point of view. The top of the head here, the very top, usually it shouldn't be a very perfect, the skull shouldn't be a perfect sphere. The top is usually more flat at the top. Okay, and maybe my forehead is a bit too big and here. Okay, so it's time to do some test render, and for that we need a material. Let me just tune that a bit, just trying. Yes, from the top, the back of the head is usually, oh, this is not good. From the top, the back of the head is usually narrower than the front of the head. So I'll try to fix it now, like that. Yes, that looks better. And then here you can see the right here, it's pretty pointy. It's too pointy so I'm going to make one or two smooth. Yes, that's good. Okay, time for a test render. So for that we'll add a material that I will call Skin Basic, because I will show you in a future tutorial how to create proper skin materials for manga characters. But for this tutorial we just want to preview the head. So enable the ramp. Okay, put the intensity at 1, set the intensity to 1, the color to white. Okay, so that these values will we're telling Blender to use the full range of from 0 to from black to white for the shading, but we're not setting the color. The colors for the mesh, for the material, will be in the ramp. Okay, so set the input to result, because result we are telling Blender to use exactly our colors. Okay. Okay, before I set the colors in the ramp, go to the scene options, color management settings and change the display device to none. That way we are telling Blender not to adapt the colors for the screen or the display device currently set. And if you set to none, you'll have exactly the colors you're setting here. This is what we want. Okay, so for the main skin color, just set the value to 1 and the saturation to 0.15. And just change the hue slightly, like 0.08, for a mix between red and yellow. Hover your mouse above the color, press Ctrl C, select the other color stop, Ctrl V above its color to copy and paste, and now we set the saturation to 0.35 and we change the hue back to something more red, like 0.04 for example. I save my file, and actually we don't need to render the face. Even better is to enable GLSL shading, so we can see this material right inside the 3D viewport. So to do that, go back to the display option, go to the display options and change, say, shading to GLSL. And now you can change to texture. So here the colors are good, but it's the lighting that isn't. So right now I have a lamp. I don't want a lamp, I want, so I select it, go to the lamp options and change it to sun. And we will rotate it around the Z axis, like that, from the top view. Okay, it's always good to see the face from to change the lighting from the top right or top left of your model, and from the side view, or even rotate around the x-axis of the sun. So you press R double X and you rotate around its x-axis. Okay, so now we can see our head with a shading, and we can see that this inner loop for the eye should be should go more inside the skull, and this should go a bit more outside. So to quickly change between those viewport shadings, I use Z or Alt Z to enable the textured shading. Okay, so the face is looking, the head is looking good to me. Of course, we can always tune a model, but at some point you have to call it done. Otherwise, we just spend too much time for diminishing returns, and it's not good to waste too much time. Time is always an issue when you're trying to achieve something. Just here, let me fix the neck like that and like that. Okay, so here we are. You now have a basic understanding of how to create first the base mesh of the head, and then how to change its proportions to come more closely to a manga head.